Yeah, we had sort of like a week off without Barça. A good win against Espanyol, good first half, boring second half, I thought. I was at the stadium for it. Good atmosphere, to be fair, on quite a gloomy Sunday, actually, in Barcelona, but good atmosphere. Always good to win in the derby. So yeah, looking forward to another episode in front of all the family.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I felt like it was a little bit hard to get up for this match after last week. I mean, there was so much excitement, so much hype around not just Bayern Munich, but of course El Clasico as well. I was screaming and yelling. I was ripping my shirt off with those goals. This one, of course, I was just on the couch watching the game unfold as expected. Basically, like it's like what you said. We had 3 goals in the first half, easy peasy. Kind of took our foot off the gas a little bit in that second half. If Baby Booga was here, he'd probably reiterate something that he said before, which is that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Score the 3 goals and then control the game.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on that, though? Do you like to see Barcelona pilot it on? Do you like to see us just control the match once we've had it? Like, what is your outlook on that?
Yeah, we've done this a bit this season. If anything, we've done it less than usual, though. We did this a lot with Valverde. I think this season, Barça have been pushing for goals right until the end. I think it was a tired team today. You're probably right. The hype, the adrenaline, all of that getting up for last week and all those massive games. Obviously, today's game is a different sort of game. It's a Catalan derby that, we all try and get up for, and it's like, this is a big game, but at the end of the day, you are just playing a relegation threat in La Liga team who are just going to sit behind the ball. Yeah. It's just like playing any other Leganes, Alaves at home, like any of those sorts of sides, so it's not going to be awfully different from from that sort of game. And it was an easy first half. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, Espanyol, 17th right now in the Liga.
Yeah.
1 win in their last 5, and that the other 4 are losses. No draws in there either.
Right. Yeah.
Barcelona now sitting comfortably. Real Madrid and Valencia delayed, right, because of the flooding.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the flood victims, of course. My heart goes out to them. But like you said, easy win for Barcelona. 78% possession, 761 passes compared to 208. The only thing that made it close were those offside calls.
Yeah.
This could have been a 3-2, a 3-3 type of match.
I know.
Barcelona literally just getting by a hair.
I know.
We've talked about it a bit. I'm getting nervous on some of these calls.
Well, maybe you can help me out, because being in the stadium, I haven't seen the replay, so I don't know how close they were, the calls. Were they tight offsides?
Yeah, so the first one was literally the toes of the player were offside, and that was it. And the second one, half of his head. He was leaning forward to get his momentum going in the sprint, and literally just like half of the crown of his head was offside. I'll say this.
Okay.
If La Liga was not using the partially automated offside, both of those would have gone against Barcelona.
Yeah.
And we would have conceded those goals. If this was last year, this game might have ended 3-3.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird one, isn't it? It's a very weird one. The goals kept going in, and I was like, "Ooh," and then they kept on being chalked off. And then the third one finally went in, and I was almost waiting. I was like, "Are they going to chalk it off?" Was the third was the third one close or?
It was close, but no controversy. Like he was clearly on. Like I don't think they even broke out the technology for that. Yeah. Like you could see with the naked eye that the runner was on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's a good year for Barca to implement this Highline with the semi-automated technology, because it is really good technology. And by the way, like for people who think that before we had it good with those lines, I actually don't want to think about how many times they got it wrong with those lines. The angles, the pixelated camera angles within like 240p, the thick lines they drew down from the most ridiculous positions. I hate the fact that we still have that in England, by the way, in the Premier League. I think it's incredible. Genuinely, it's almost like it's just ridiculous. I reckon they got so much wrong. So I really love the new technology. I think it's brilliant. And obviously it picks out, like you've said there, half a head or like toes being offside, which can be frustrating. I saw the Espanyol manager was furious about it, and obviously it's annoying because it's like he hasn't got an advantage by that. Do you know what I mean? So I can see that's why it's frustrating for them. But for us, it's working big time. The offside. It's like a theme of every Barca game right now. It's happening time and time again.
Yeah, 100%. Like we shared, of course, on the last podcast, we've got more than double the offside calls of any other team in the top 5 leagues in Europe. But I'm with you. Like, I would actually be in favor of reimagining the offside to where, was there a clear advantage with the amount a player was offside? Like, wherever you draw the line, is it you can have one boot offside? Can you be, okay, you only have to have a toe onside? Like, wherever you draw the line, there's going to be controversy over, was it too far? Was it, offside or not? But it does bother me, I'll say, as a football fan, when somebody misses out on a goal because they were a toe over the line for it to be offside.
Yeah.
When they were half of a head over the line to be offside. So if I'm an Espanyol fan, I'm probably throwing stuff at the screen. I'm probably pretty upset at this. I'm going to have a hard time just letting go of the fact that we should have gotten a draw out of this match, all things considered.
Yeah. It's frustrating.
So it's tough. My heart goes out to you, Espanyol, despite the rivalry. I get it. We've been there. Because literally last year, we were dying by the same sword that we are living by this year. It seemed like all of these calls that we are now getting were just not going in Barcelona's favor. So I get it. I feel for him.
Yeah, no, completely.
Anyway, who stood out to you in this match?
First of all,
Dani Olmo getting 2 goals. We got Raphinha with the 3rd.
Dani Olmo. Because it wasn't actually a game where I think a specific player played well for the 90. I don't know if you feel the same, John. I think that second half was maybe one of our most underwhelming second halves of the season, actually. Which I accept because we were we'd won the game and we've had a big week and, it's fine. It's fine to rest up. I actually thought Flick was going to make more changes and earlier. What I mean by that is, to me, players looked tired, like they weren't in their best form. Raphinha, Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski. I thought he would have pulled them all off in about the 65th minute, but he left them out there, fair enough. But it just felt like one of those games where it was like, these guys are done now, like they could do with just another half an hour off. But let's start with that first half, because the first half was good from Barca. It was like we've seen under Hansi Flick so far. It was electric, it was fast, and they were causing Espanyol big issues. And Dani Olmo is a big talent in this team, and he's a big problem for opposition defences because he's a player that Barcelona haven't had in recent years, and that's that he can strike from like outside the box. He is a goal scorer. He is someone who, when he gets the ball on the edge of the box, I think goal. I just see Dani Olmo on the ball, and like not only is he a brilliant dribbler, he's a brilliant creator, passes really well, gets in between the lines fantastically, he's positioning, but he's such a good goal scorer. And I said it on this podcast before, and I keep saying it, I think he's going to go to the next level at Barcelona. He's becoming one of the people that players are looking to in this team to get goals, and he did it again against Espanyol.
Yeah, I made note of that too. I think we've been missing someone who is a threat from outside the box ever since Rakitic left.
Yeah.
That's the last player that comes to mind that was like, oh no, you can't just let him have space 18, 25 yards out. He will absolutely punish you for that. And Dani Olmo is showing us that. I think there's an argument to be made that Dani Olmo might have the highest football IQ on the team.
Yeah.
I think Pedri is up there with him. But in terms of reading the game, getting into the right space, making the right decisions, right? He's got that killer instinct. He's got that poacher's mentality, but it's so much more than that. There's something about him, and maybe I'll get some comments thrown my way for this. But there's something about him. It's almost like if Rakitic and David Villa had a baby and named him Dani Olmo. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got like David Villa for me. He was never the best athlete. He was never really like that pure elite forward, but he was the guy that knew how to get in the right space, knew how to get in behind, knew where to find the goals, And then, of course, like I just said, the ability to shoot from outside the box, the fact that he is more of a midfield player. I can see a little bit of both of those players in Dani Olmo.
I really like that from you.
Okay, I thought maybe you guys.
No. I think that.
I'll take it.
I think that's a good mix, actually. Honestly, like because I see that in Danny Olmo, but he's one of those players. He took his 2 goals brilliantly. The first one was a great run in. The ball from Lamine Yamal was superb, of course. The first time finish, it's what he's got in his knocker from that sort of distance. And the second one from him for 3-0, I mean, that's what he's got. That's exactly what you're saying, John, about if you give him space on the edge of the area, it'll punish you, and he does.
Yeah. And then Raphinha, gotta shout out Raphinha.
Yeah.
He is earning his goals. A lot of people would have pulled back from that potential collision with the goalkeeper coming in. But if you want one guy who's going to have the heart, have the determination to continue that run, say, I'm going to get a boot on this ball, even if I get clobbered, Raphinha's that guy. So I think that was huge. And I think he's going to continue to show that he's willing to outwork whoever else is on the pitch marking him so that he can get those goals. I think that's where Raphinha, he knows this is a year-long trial for him to keep his spot.
Yeah.
He knows the rumors. We were talking about Nico Williams. There's talks about Rafael Leao. There's all these wingers that people want to bring in. Raphinha knows that if he's going to keep his spot, he's got to continue to perform in that way. And credit to his mentality, because that is so difficult. I don't mean to make it sound like that's an easy thing. It's so difficult to keep that mentality, to keep the engine running, to not go, well, we're up already and it's Espanyol and we'll be fine. I'll get on the end of the next one. Yeah. Every ball, he's chasing it down like it's his last opportunity.
Yeah. That's one of the best things about him. I think he's had such a hard time of it at Barca, actually. Raphinha. I think he's been scrutinised from almost the first day he arrived, and it was almost like, after 3 months, they were sort of like, yeah, this guy can go if he wants. And I was like, what? And I think he had a pretty good first season, in my opinion, in La Liga. Second season was tough for everyone. I thought he was one of the standout players. People thought he was crap. Fair enough. There's different opinions in football. And this season, he's obviously been superb. But I mean, sort of the threat of you could be sold every summer has been there with Raphinha. And I think that's been harsh. Did you see what he said about Xavi in the week, John?
I didn't. I missed it.
He said with Xavi, and he said, it's not a criticism of him. He said, with Xavi, I knew in the 60th minute I was going to come off every game no matter what I did. So in those 60 minutes, I was trying everything I could. And sometimes it was enough, and he'd still take me off after I'd got a few goals. Yeah. And sometimes I didn't have enough time, and he would take me off anyway. And it isn't he spot on.
Yeah, I'd be interested to look at his stats and see how many of his goal contributions come in the 60th minute or later.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to look up. But I said in arguing with people in the comments this week after comparing him to Ronaldinho, which I get it, you guys. I get that he's not Ronaldinho. Okay, that's not what I was saying. I'm saying if he keeps playing like this, down the line, when his future Barcelona career is in the past, whatever. Anyway, I would be very curious what his first couple of years would have been like if we had Hansi Flick at the helm. There's no way to judge, right? Even if you had a crystal ball, you can't really look into it and change that up and see what would have happened. But I almost give him a pass for those first 2 years because we didn't have anybody that was playing the way that they're playing right now under Hansi. So it's like, for me, everyone gets a fresh start when a new manager comes in.
Yeah.
And so I'm judging Raphinha really just based off of this season. And it's like, okay, perfect fit for the system. You are willing to die on the field for this club. Yeah, you get a spot. I'm not interested in bringing in somebody that has more flair, more marketing, behind them, a bigger brand than Raphinha. It is what it is. Raphinha is never going to be the biggest name for the club. He'll probably never be the biggest name for his country either.
No.
But he will be the guy that, as we've talked about before, the streets never forget. If you're watching the matches, if you're really a Barcelona supporter, you should be completely behind Raphinha and being that regular starter on the left wing.
Yeah. I can't see him being replaced in the summer, John, if he keeps this up. I can't see Barcelona signing an F winger if this continues. I really can't. It would be just like we thought spending money on Danny Olmo and not on Nico Williams was a catastrophe. It would be like a catastrophe in its own right, wouldn't it? It's just funny how football works, isn't it? But What about the pass from Catalan to Raphinha?
Bro.
Brilliant. And I thought when he came off for De Jong, harsh on De Jong because I think the game had changed by then. It wasn't the same game as the first half, but I do think Barca worsened without Catalan. I think that's credit to him, because I think him and Pedri have formed a good double pivot in midfield, and I think Hansi Flick knows that. There were rumours De Jong was going to start today with Dani Olmo. He didn't. That surprised me, because I thought he was. Maybe he does in the midweek against Red Star Belgrade, but again, Hansi Flick and his coaching staff clearly got together and thought, do we actually want to change that? You know what? We don't.
Yeah. No, that's a good shout. That's another note I made. Casillo's passing right now to split the lines is just absolutely incredible. It's something that I was not expecting. In fact, at the beginning of the season, I remember specifically being like, yeah, he works hard. He wins the ball back defensively, finds himself in the right position, but his passing needs work. I remember distinctly saying that. And then he was like, okay, John, hold my beer. Watch what happens. And he's been amazing ever since. And it is. I think we talked about before. Right now, for me, it's Pedri, it's Casillo, and then depending on the opponent, it's either Olmo or Frankie as the third starter.
Right. Yeah.
Because and then it just depends on, do you want Pedri playing more forward, or do you want him dropping in and having Dani Olmo be that true number 10? You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. I think you should start Frankie against Red Star. I think he needs to get 90 minutes under his belt at some point. I feel like that would be a good time to do it. And maybe not make too many rotations around him, so you can really get a better sense of where Frankie's at and where he fits in chemistry wise. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to sit here like a lot of the people online where it's like, well, we have Casillo now, so let's sell Frankie de Jong. He's been the problem this whole time, and blah, blah, blah. Guys, you can appreciate one midfielder without shitting on the other one. It is possible. It is possible to just appreciate Casillo for what he's doing, be thankful that we have another youngster coming up from La Masia that is going to be on the big stage, but we don't have to be like, oh, see, Frankie's been the problem the whole time. There's a lot of variables. New manager, new tactics, the attack all of a sudden opening things up. Like, there's a lot of variables that you can't just go, well, the difference is Casillo in and Frankie out.
Yeah, completely. I think he will start against Red Star Belgrade, by the way. I think Flick will make a few changes. Frankie.
Yeah.
I think he definitely starts against Red Star Belgrade. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Him, Fermin, I think, is knocking on the door too. Who else could potentially start against Red Star Belgrade? Let's have a little think. I'm just thinking of like what changes he could make. But, you know, I think we will... Go on.
We haven't seen Pablo Torre in a minute.
Yeah, we haven't. He's in a congested area now, though, Pablo Torre. He really is. Like, in that number 10 role now will be one of Fermin or Olmo. You know, he's not, he'll rotate between those guys there, I'd imagine. But no, I think there's a good chance that we see what you want on Wednesday, John, and that is Frankie in midfield alongside the regulars.
Yeah. I would like to see Lamine get a break.
Yeah.
Have Raphinha on the right, have Ansu on the left, and then I would like to see Frankie, Pedri, Olmo as the starting three in the midfield. And then, Koundé got a good break today.
He did, yeah. Centre-backs, we don't have anyone.
We don't have any center-backs right now. Maybe you see Balde get a rest.
I know, we could, but Gerard Martin.
Yeah. But outside of that, like, I think Hansi learned his lesson against, what was it, Osasuna, where we did all the rotations. So I don't think he's going to do something like that again.
No, I mean,
we'll see.
We can't forget as well. We need to win this game as well, because there's only so many spots available in this new Champions League format, and if we don't win, then all of a sudden we've only won 2 out of our 4 games, which isn't a great return. So we do have to win this game, to keep on the momentum from Bayern.
Yeah, that is accurate. We are currently sitting in 10th place. You need to be in the top 8 to get a guaranteed spot, and I want to avoid that playoff at all costs. Yeah,
me too, right? Because that's going to be hell.
It is an interesting. I know we didn't have Champions League conversation on the topic list today, but it is an interesting table right now. Aston Villa sitting up top.
Are they? Yeah.
You have Monaco in there. You have Brest in there. Sporting Lisbon is in there. There's some interesting names in that top 8 that I'll be very curious if they hang on, because you got teams like Arsenal, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, PSG, even Bayern, that are all missing out right now. And if they start to turn things around, it'll be close. It'll be a very interesting last few rounds in Champions League, which
it is. It's going to be so intriguing to see it like all turn around, because I think it will all turn around.
Yeah,
but I think
we need to get through one year of this format to then sit back and be like, okay, was this different? Was this better? Was this worse?
Yeah. And then we'll know. Then we'll know like around what match week to like really start looking at, because at match week 3, I mean, like Atletico Madrid are in 27th, Bayern are in 23rd. And I'm not saying they'll get in the top 8, but it's just not going to stay like that, obviously, you know?
Yeah.
Real Madrid are in 12th, you know, like...
Yeah, that's not going to last. And we have Brest on our schedule.
We do. Well. Yeah, we've got Red Star Belgrade and then Brest away.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that's in the top 8 that we have lined up. I think that's the only team that we have in the top 8 that we're playing, I think.
We got Dortmund and Atalanta.
Well, Dortmund has dropped down to 11, and Atalanta is 17. So maybe by the time we play Dortmund, they could be in top 8.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Anyway, I digress. What do you think about Hector Fort's performance today? We talked about Koundé getting a little bit of a rest, so Hector Fort out there at right back. What do you think?
I think the back 4 felt the absence of Koundé. I do. I think we got quite on a few occasions. We saw that we technically conceded 3 goals today, really. 2 were offside by a hair. Do you know what I mean? So in all things considered, that we have conceded 3 goals, really. Like in practice, that's like a training game. You conceded 3. So it's not all his fault. It definitely wasn't. I actually really like Hector Fort. I actually really do rate him. I think he's a completely different type of fullback to Koundé. He maybe was a bit heavy with his touch on a few occasions, but he's only 18, which I forget myself as well, actually. He's so young still, you know, and I think he's actually a good fullback to have around the club. I really do. I see potential in Hector Fort. At left back too, we worry about maybe playing Gerard Martin in for some games, but, you know, I think that could be a good option to have Hector Fort at left back. So I like Hector Fort, and I thought he was solid again today. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a fan as well, and I think we saw enough last year to have some faith in him, both on the right and the left. I mean, he's kind of a baby João Cancelo in that way. And so it's a utility player, I think, to keep around the club. So that's certainly in his favor, you know, knowing that injuries will happen and sometimes you got to move players around. And yeah, to your point, he is something different than Koundé. I think having him start in some of these, you know, lower tiered matches, maybe he gets a spot on the Copa del Rey starting 11, something like that, I think would be good for him, because who knows, the next couple of years at Barcelona, I think we're going to see some different faces in that back line. Inigo Martinez, of course, is not going to be able to play forever, right? He's got maybe a year, 2 at best. I don't know. I hesitate to even say that. Being the age that I am, I recognize that 1 year you feel like you're 25, and then the next year, no, you get why people retire by the time that they're, 33, 34 years old, because you just can't keep up with the young bucks anymore. So, but Inigo's doing it right now. He's doing it right now. But I would be interested to see. I think there's a scenario that plays out where maybe next year Inigo's not the same Inigo. Maybe we do sell a Christensen over the summer, and then all of a sudden we need Koundé back as a center back.
Yeah.
And then we look at the options for the right wing, and you're going to be thankful that you have a Hector Fort there.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he can play now. Obviously not over Koundé, but I would want to give him enough playing time that he continues to develop. I definitely don't want to just shelve him and let him go to the wayside.
Yeah, completely, yeah. Which was happening a bit at the start of the season. He was one of the ones who wasn't getting as many minutes because Koundé was playing everything. So I'm happy to see him play a bit more now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right. Anybody else stand out to you, or any other talking points from that match?
Iñaki Peña, a bit more confident, I think. He continues to get a bit more confidence. Inigo Martinez, I thought, was very good again. And from what I saw as well in the stadium, visibly upset on a lot of occasions. I think Fermin said this week he's the man, he's the captain without the armband. He really is. He was screaming down there on the offsides because I think he could tell the defence was getting torn apart a little bit. And other than that, it wasn't Lewandowski's day. Nothing stuck at his feet. You couldn't get on the end of anything. He'll go again next week. Other than that, it wasn't a game that you could produce a 4-page match report